Hello guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to talk about the case of Sheila Lumumba, and I know most of us know her story, and I really hope that she gets justice. What we're going to do today, we're just going to go over the facts and see what we know so far. So without further ado, let's get into the story. Sheila Lumumba was 25 years old at the time, lived in Karate, Nyeri, and Sheila was a hotel supervisor and is said to be a member of the LGBTQ community, described by her family as being reserved but jovial, kind, determined, and very hardworking. And in fact, as Sheila's father said about Sheila, "My daughter worked hard to be able to support herself. It was her desire to support herself and us. She was hardworking and had a bright future. At her age, she had managed to rise to the ranks of a supervisor. She was a born leader." So you can see she was quite hardworking, and at the age of 25, by all standard, she was quite remarkable and quite impressive what she had achieved. So Sheila's friends described her as an affable person, practical, generous, and very down to earth. And one of Sheila's closest friends described her as being energetic, full of life, with a positive vibe. You know, the kind of person you'd love to be around. So Sheila was very liked by the people around her. And from what I get about that is that she was kind of a person you'd love definitely to hang with. You know, she was like the coolest, kindest person out there. So let's go to April 14th or 15th. The reports don't tally, but between 14th or 15th, 2022. So at this point, Sheila had missed work for 3 days, and because she's a hotel supervisor and it's out of character for her to do that, she really didn't do that. And she just wouldn't go off without telling anyone. She was very dependable, accountable, reliable. So the colleagues at work were really worried about her. They were concerned because they tried to reach her by phone and she was not answering it. So they kind of felt something was really odd here, and they made their way to Sheila's home. So when they got there is when they sadly found out that Sheila had passed away. And they then called in the police, and the police came to assess the scene and collect evidence. And right away it became very clear that Sheila was the victim of a very, very horrific attack. I have read what they did to her, and it's so brutal. I can't even imagine a human being doing that to another human being. How evil can you get? It's the 21st century, more civilized world. I don't get it. Why would anyone do this? Don't you have empathy? Don't you have any emotion? Don't you have any remorse? I just don't know why they did this to Sheila. It's very horrific what she went through, and I can't even imagine what she might have felt then. The pain, the fear, everything, was very, very horrible at that time, and I can't imagine what she went through. It was really horrific, very brutal. The attack on her was really, really brutal. So news of Sheila's passing reached Sheila's family and friends, and who had been told at that point at first that Sheila was missing, but then again they were later told that she was found deceased. And that's when the parents rushed to the mortuary to identify her. And I can't imagine what they went through. It must be really heartbreaking, very heartbreaking, especially for the mother. The parents really poured their life and their love into this young soul, and to be snatched away like that in a very violent way must be heartbreaking. And her mother described the attack on her as similar to that of an animal. the attack on her was really awful, and the condition she was in was not good at all. And right away her mother called for justice, saying, "As a mother, I demand justice for my daughter. I pray she finds justice." And her father, the lingering question that remained in his mind was, why was my child killed? I mean, that really broke my heart. They spent 25 years raising, loving this, young soul, and somebody just takes it away for nothing, for no reason at all. And it really broke my heart when I read that, he had said that why was my child killed? And he insisted that all he wants to do is see the killers, face justice. They face justice, that will bring very much needed closure to the family. So that's what he said. Also, Sheila's brother would later say that they really hurt Sheila, and he wants justice for, Sheila. It was his sister, and he really wants justice for her, and I'm really hoping they get justice for Sheila. No one should ever face such treatment. We're better. Humans are way much better than causing harm. We're way much better than this. Way much better than this. We can do better. Violence is not the only way to solve any issue you have with someone. We're way better than this. So as the news broke about, Sheila's passing, there was outrage all over, and especially from the members of the LGBTQ community. They really rallied around Sheila. They wanted to get her name out, wanted to be heard, be seen. And they really formed a campaign in there. But as the news was going on around, there was a lot of misinformation spread. And I know the person behind this had the best of intentions, but there was a lot of misinformation, which might have even derailed or hindered the investigation. But I'm hoping that this gets corrected, and in the future, before you post something, please make sure you're posting the correct information. So, like this post, for example. So this woman made a very wild claim, even when the police had not made a statement yet. They have not named anyone, not even arrested anyone. She alleged that Sheila was attacked by a group of men, 6 to be exact, and that the motive was because she was a lesbian. So here are my big questions. My big question here is, how did she get this information? How did she know that there were 6 men? Exactly 6 men. How does she know this? I mean, does she know these 6 men? If she knows them, why hasn't she given the information to the police? I mean, I don't know where she got this information from. And it's a very wild claim. Who told her that the motive was because Sheila was a member of the LGBTQ community? Who told her that? Who gave her the motive behind the killing? Does she know these people? Who are they? I mean, besides Sheila being a member of the LGBTQ community, there could be other motives. Like, at work, there were people who were harassing her. And Sheila had reported them, and those people were let go. So it could be even a revenge because someone lost their job over this. Number 2, it could be, thugs. There was an incident where Sheila had told one of her friends that they were robbed after leaving, work, and some possessions of theirs were taken by these thugs. So it could be even related to that, or it could be the night she was last seen alive. Somebody followed her from her place of work. So we don't know this, but how is this woman so sure that the motive was because Sheila was a member of the LGBTQ? And I totally understand that she did this. She did this because she wanted to spread Sheila's case. She wanted Sheila name to be out there so that she can get justice. She wanted that her case may not be forgotten, like so many unsolved cases here in Kenya. She wanted Sheila to be known and her case, and also, to bring various issues about the LGBTQ to the limelight, yeah. So her post reigned quite far, and most people are hung on that this was the motive, that she was part of the LGBTQ and somebody attacked her because of that. But it's not confirmed. We can't be sure that that's the motive, So, but it brought, as much as it was a lot of misinformation in there, it brought a very important issue to the fray, the rights of the LGBTQ community. It brought it to the forefront. It definitely highlighted the discrimination that the LGBTQ community faces on a day-to-day basis, which has been ignored and still continue being ignored, and which is wrong, and it has to stop. Kenya is a free country. Everyone has a right to live. Everyone has a right to be treated well, no matter who they choose to identify as, So no one should treat anyone unfairly, it's against the law for you to treat someone unfairly because of who they choose to identify as. No one really ever, if you're religious, no one ever attacks you because you're religious, right? So why are you so hurt by someone else identifying as a part of the LGBTQ? It really doesn't concern you, really. It's their life, it's their choices, it's who they want to be. Why does that concern you? They're not harming anyone, they're not killing anyone. So how does that hurt you in any way? I don't get it. I really don't. So it definitely brought a lot of light into how the LGBTQ community has been treated unfairly, and it highlighted the cases of Erica Chandra, whose Erica's body was found in a ditch, and the autopsy ruled that she died of chest and heart complications, which could be, but what I can't really, understand or agree with is how and where she was found. Heart and chest complications could be what caused her death. It could be, but why did it have to happen near a ditch? Far from her home, in a ditch. I don't believe, that's got to be the most terrible coincidence ever to occur. So I definitely think that there's something sinister about Erica's death, and it should be further investigated. It shouldn't be just closed because they say it's heart and chest complications. Where was she found? Why was she there? They need to investigate it. Who were closest to her? Who was Erica with that night? Who was Erica with that day? Where did she go? Who did she meet? So I think a lot of investigations, to clear everything, in order to make everyone's mind, have peace that this is what actually happened. They should investigate it, at least give us something, give us some evidence that this is what happened, right? Definitely needs to be more investigation into Erica's case. And also the case of Joash Masoti, found attacked in his house in Mombasa. He was an LGBTQ activist, and his death was clearly a homicide. He was really horribly tortured and then killed in his house. Definitely should be investigated. It shouldn't be placed aside just because they choose to fight for the rights, their rights, and the rights of other people. It's wrong for you to do that. Why would you torture someone? For what purpose does it serve? So definitely needs to be investigated. His case is clearly a homicide. Definitely needs to be investigated, and we need answers and justice for Joash Masoti and everyone else who's been discriminated upon or who's been hurt by another person. Sheila's case brought all of this, it's like bringing all of these cases back into the public eye and really highlighted what has been happening to the members of the LGBTQ, and it should not be ignored. No matter who you choose to identify as, you don't need to be treated unfairly. You don't need to be discriminated upon. You certainly don't deserve to die just because you choose to identify in a certain way. It doesn't, there's no justification for someone taking someone's life just because they choose to identify as as a LGBTQ. I don't find the reasoning behind this is not sufficient, and whoever did this is incredibly evil and not even human. I don't believe that person is human. It's horrible, what happened to Erica, what happened to Josh, what happened to Sheila. And what's frustrating in Sheila's case, since it came out that she was a member of the LGBTQ, I don't know, for some reason the police have shown a very slow response. There's not that quick rushing, even though there was a petition signed and there was like public pressure for them to solve this. It's very slow response, and the family has said this. There's very slow response from the police, even in coming up with a theory, working towards that. So the family members claim that the police haven't done much. They went and they went to the house and were packing Sheila's things, and there they found the murder weapon. And what the police had said the first time, that they didn't find the murder weapon, but Sheila's family members were there and they found the murder weapon. So they called the DCI, they called the detectives to come and collect the knife. But what the detective said? They were not coming. You should bring it to them. That the family members should take the murder weapon and bring it to them. I was like, what? Why? That's great police work. And I'm being very sarcastic here. Very great police work. Gosh, it's highly frustrating. I mean, come on. And also the family members said that they tracked down the CCTV from the last day that Sheila was alive. They tracked down the CCTV as to where she was. And I'm like, they were not supposed to be the ones tracking the CCTV. The CCTV is supposed to be the work of the police, They're supposed to be on this right away. But it's the family members who actually went and took the CCTV and then they brought it to the police, which is incredibly frustrating. And I'm hoping that this never has to be a repetition. There's no repeat of this, because for someone losing, someone, they shouldn't be the one doing all this work. It should be part of the police to protect the public, part of the police to work hard in solving this case. This is incredibly frustrating. If it's true they actually did this, incredibly frustrating and unacceptable. It's scary if they can work this slow, or if they can work with such laxity, and it involves someone's life. It's scary. So far no arrests have been made in her case. No suspects have been named. It's still an open investigation, and we're going to give the detectives time in order to piece together what happened and solve the case. But I'm hoping that they put in a lot of work in this and they just don't leave it as an unsolved case, because that will be incredibly frustrating. Those perpetrators could be out there attacking another human, which is it shouldn't happen at all. So for me, as a Kenyan, as a human, I want justice for Sheila. Nobody deserves to die in such a horrific way. Everyone has a right to life and to be treated fairly. So no matter what side you fall on, everyone has a right to exist in this world. And it should really enrage every human at the blatant disrespect of life displayed here. What they did to Sheila was unacceptable, inhumane, and just pure evil, and shouldn't exist in our society. If at all we are to grow and progress as a society, it shouldn't be like that. So no matter which side you fall on, we should all agree that no one deserves to die in such a horrible way. we should put these guys behind bars. So protect ourselves and protect the society as well. So I'm hoping they get caught in whatever hole they're hiding in. They get caught, they're brought to justice, and whoever's hiding them, please, if you have any information, do not hide these guys, because if you hide them, chances are they're going to come after your family. So you're really not doing yourself a favor. So just tell the police if you have any information. And that's it for me, guys. Thank you all for listening today, and I'll see you in the next one. Look after each other, take care of each other. Goodbye.